Hey, what's up, everyone? Today, we're going to talk about how to launch your podcast. That's right. Once you're ready to go live and you've submitted your show to Apple Podcasts, how do you get people to listen to it? What's the proper thing to think about when you are ready to go? So let's jump into it. So the four things to think about when you are launching your show are subscriptions, listens, ratings, and reviews. That's what matters when you are starting, right? So subscriptions are when anyone listens to your podcast, they find your podcast in the podcast player, they hit the little check mark that allows them to follow your show. They used to call it subscribe, and I think now it's just a check mark that means follow. So getting them to click this means that your subscribers, these people that found your show, are now subscribers. They are now in their podcast player going to be served your show every time a new episode is released. This is super important because that means every time you have a new show, you are given a free listen by everyone that's subscribed. They are being served that show and only shows that they've been subscribed to. And there's no way to get listens without people actively every week getting your content. So getting people to subscribe is crucial, step number one. Number two is actually getting them to listen, giving them a reason to want to not just subscribe, but to actually hit play on your episodes. Now, this is going to be a matter of you creating episodes that have really good hooks that people want to listen to. Your content needs to be interesting, but the hook, the show description, the name of your episodes matter in terms of catching people's interest. So really thinking about, especially for your first released episodes, what am I naming my episodes that's going to make people curious and really want to know what is inside? So naming your show episodes is critically important right off the bat. But also, you hear me saying episodes instead of episode. There should be more than one. There should be at least 3 ready to go when you're launched and released all at the same time. Why? Because when people are finding you for the first time, they might be curious after you listen to the first episode and want to hear more, and you're going to give them an opportunity to listen to multiple pieces of your content. That binge listening is a habit that now people expect as an opportunity. So the great news about that is people are most curious when they're first discovering you. So they'll listen to those 3 back to back right off the bat. And you can go more than that too. You can go 5 or more if you want, but 3 at least is a good starting point. And those 3 listens make Apple and the other podcast players think that you have, so much interest because you have people binge listening to all your shows. Worst thing to do is make people hear one show and then wait a week or 2 to hear your next show. So you want to give them multiple things to listen to right off the bat. So that's listens. Number 3 was ratings. Ratings are you getting people to say, hey, you listened to the show, did you like it? That is a 5-star system, like 4 or 5 stars, but you want them to go in and leave the maximum amount of stars because people will start to see this, right? They'll start to see, oh, out of all the shows that are about fitness or about finance, this podcast has 1 review or rating, and this podcast has 100. That matters. So what I want you to do is make a goal of getting out there and getting 50 people to rate and review your show. So again, the rating is the stars. You're hoping for 5 stars, ask for full 5-star reviews. The review is going to be the actual write-up. So get them to actually write down something about the show. Say something nice, 1 sentence or even a few words is all it takes. It is social proof that your show is worth listening to. People don't want to be the only person at a party. So getting ratings and reviews shows them that there are other people listening. So I don't care who those ratings and reviews are. You want to get 50 people at least, if you can get 100, even better, but 50 people at least to get out there, rate and review your show. And that could be family members, cousins, friends, people not in your industry even. Get them to help and listen to your show to get it started so that you don't run into the barrier of people not knowing if your show's worth listening to. Create that for them so that the experience is now focused on the content instead of on the clout. Okay. So ratings and reviews are the last focus. So 2 things to execute and get all this done, right? 1, to have a group of people ready to go to support you. So you can do that ahead of time with like a launch group that you sign people up for ahead of time. Say, hey, friend, colleague, peer, people in my industry that I know, would you be willing to be a part of my podcast launch team that supports it? And you give them steps to do. You're like, when it comes out, I would need your help letting people, first off, listening to it, subscribing and leaving rating, but then also letting other people know about it on social media and getting your friends to do the same. If you can sign up 10, 20 people to be ready to go to support you, you'll have it. You won't have to ask later. They'll be prepped ahead of time. And now they have an expectation on them. They've made a promise that they have to keep. And that's what's important, is that people are ready to go. And you can do that ahead of time, or you can do it after, which means I would get people together and have a launch party, have a bunch of people over my house, or a barbecue or something, and say, hey, everyone, while you're here, our show just came out. I'd love everyone, if you're willing to help and support me, it'd mean a lot to me to get everyone here to at least subscribe, leave a rating and review while you're here, and then push play and just let it play in your pocket or whatever it is, or go listen to it when you go home and tell other people about it. Getting people together in the moment is going to help them actually take action. Because what really happens is, if you don't do these things, you'll ask people to support you and they'll say they will, but life gets in the way and people don't take the time to take that extra step because they don't realize how important this is to you. So you getting out there and bringing them together and making them make that commitment is what's going to get the job done. The other thing you can do is, for the people that can't be with you, send them one-to-one messages, send them direct messages, send them texts, make a phone call, send them a direct email and say, hey, John, hey, Steve, hey, Fred, I need you to help me with my podcast that just came out. Are you willing to help? And if they say yes, tell them what they could do. But get that yes before you give them the steps. Say, hey, are you willing to help? And once they say yes, then tell them how. Because otherwise, if you're just sending them spam saying, hey, leave me a rating, they won't do it. But once you get a commitment, people will follow through. So, and then you can also follow up if they haven't done it and say, hey, you said you would, can you try to do it this week? And get them to do all this within the first week of launch. You want as much support at the beginning as possible, because how you start is how you finish. You want that momentum to carry you and keep you excited and move you into growing your listenership right off the bat. So set up a launch party, get those things going. And then lastly, tell everyone about it wherever you can. Obviously, go out, network, be in the public, be in places in your industry where people gather. Tell everyone about it. Go in the Facebook groups, let people know that you've launched your podcast, and create word of mouth informational sharing and let people know what's happening. Post about it on your social media, post about it on your blog, if you have a YouTube, post about it on all your profiles, put links to where to go to listen to it. Make it so that people who know you cannot help but know that you are releasing a podcast. Put it everywhere. This is what you can do at the beginning. Eventually, when you're bigger, you can get into other marketing channels and other ways to grow and paying. But I wouldn't pay for ads or anything like that when you're launching, unless you know that that money's coming back to you in some way, that you've built a service and that this is a way to go. But your word of mouth, the hand-to-hand combat is what's going to get you moving when you're getting started. Hope that was helpful for you guys today, and I will catch you in the next lesson.